Hello friends. In the previous lecture we have studied about virus. So today we will study about the types of virus and the actions and how does a computer virus spread. So let's start with this. How does a computer virus spread? A computer virus spreads through removable media, through internet downloads, and through email attachments. A computer virus also spreads while the user is viewing an infected advertisement, visiting an infected website, opening the attachment in the email, or clicking anywhere on the executable file or clicking on random executable file. So these all are the ways through which your computer can get a virus, because it is very important for you people to remember that when you get ads you have won 1 lakh and you have won 1 crore, it is never advisable to click on these type of links because they always contain virus. And once you click on that type of link, your computer or your IP address will be shared with that person who has introduced that virus, because they try to hack your information, and then after hacking the IP address and all, they can access your devices. So it is always advisable never click on such types of links. Next is, it also transfers through infected USB. For example, when you attached a pen drive which is also already infected, so once you join that pen drive, so you can easily get a virus through infected USB. Next is symptoms. How the computer behaves if it is infected with virus. There are some symptoms. Slow performance of a computer. Computer starts performing in a slow way. Automatically pop-ups show on your screen. Some programs running on their own. Automatically multiplying and duplicating files. Next is presence of unknown files and applications on the computer. Files getting deleted or corrupted. These all are the symptoms which indicate that your computer is infected. And whenever you get symptoms like that, it is very important to fix the problem. Otherwise, virus can cause a disaster to your computer. Next is types of virus. Different types of viruses are available, and sometimes some companies like phone companies introduce virus by links, and when you people click on that links, your phone get infected. It is just a policy of a company to corrupt the phones, how they can send these corrupted files through the virus, by making use of virus to the people, so that their phones can get virus and they start operating in a unintended way, and people try to buy new phone. So there are different types of viruses available. First is boot sector virus. What is boot sector virus? It infects the boot sector of the system. It infects the booting system of the operating system. I hope you people know what is booting system. Booting is when you first switch on the computer, your operating system loads from hard disk to main memory. So it affects the booting process. It also infects other bootable medias like floppy disk, and these are also known as memory virus. because they do not infect file system. They infect memory and the disk system. And it is very complex to remove this type of virus. Next is direct action virus, which takes action directly once it is executed. The direct action virus remains dormant on a computer until the file containing the virus is executed. Next is resident virus. Resident virus inserts itself in a computer system memory. Means the virus resides in the memory of the computer, and it is very hard to identify this type of virus. Next is multipartite virus. Multipartite virus infects and spreads in multiple ways. This virus infects both the program files as well as the system sectors. Means it affects the system in multiple ways. It affects the data of the system as well as the system itself. Next is file virus. This type of virus infects the system by appending itself to the end of the file. It attaches itself to the end of a file. It changes the start of a program so that the control jumps to its code. And when the control jumps to its code, after the execution of this code, the control returns back to the main program and its execution is not even noticed. The user always remains unaware about this type of execution of virus. Next is source code virus. It looks for, this type of virus always looks for source code, means main code of the program. And once it gets the source code, it modifies it to include virus and then take helps of it to spread itself. And sometimes when it modifies the source code, the program behave in unintended way, or the program produce wrong output. Next is encrypted virus. In order to avoid detection by antivirus, this type of virus exists in encrypted form. It means the virus tries to hide itself from the antivirus or to hide its identity. So the virus is in encrypted form. It also carries a decryption algorithm to decrypt itself. So it also carries a decryption algorithm along with it. So the virus first decrypts and then executes. And once I have told you the virus executes, it is in your system. Next is web scripting virus. Scripting means the virus is present in the scripting parts. Scripting parts means the virus is in the form of the links. Whenever you see random links on the random web pages, there are so many chances that these links contain virus. So the real life example is you people watch online videos and online movies. It is a very popular nowadays, and more than 2 billion videos are streamed on Facebook every day. So these videos also execute a specific code. Once you click on that, they start executing a specific code, which user must remain unaware about that thing. Next is overwrite virus. As the name is overwrite, it overwrites the contents of your file and your information. Virus spreads through emails and deletes all the files, and it also infects all the files. Next is, once you noticed your computer is behaving not in a proper way or not in intended way, then it means your computer or your device contain virus. I have told you what are the symptoms. So if you noticed any symptoms, it is very important to protect your computer at that stage or to fix the problem. Otherwise, it will also infect other systems, other files, and it also cause a full-fledged damage to your computer. So you must have to use different ways to protect your computer. So there are different ways that you can use. First one is install antivirus program. Whether you are connecting to the internet or not, antivirus having reliable protection is the route to go through it. So antivirus programs are the minimal investment and are worth that you can easily get it and you can run on your computer. Next is install anti-spyware and anti-malware programs. Many of these programs are free and prevent virus from doing any damage to your computer. So they just require that you continuously have to run and update it to use it correctly. Next is avoid suspicious websites. A lot of times websites will notify you if you are about to enter a website that attempts to install or run a program on your computer, but not always. So always avoid these types of websites. Never open email attachments without screening them. Apart from that, never open email attachments from unauthorized or unintended users, because it is one of the most common way to attach the virus in the file, and once the user download that file, the virus can easily enters into your system. Next is make use of set up automatic scans. Setting up automatic scans to run on your computer on daily basis or on weekly basis, because this keep your computer updated. Next is watch your downloads. We understand that downloading files from the internet such as music, movies is so common, but it also gets so many virus. So it is very important on time to time make use of antivirus and watch your downloads, and if it is of no use, then you can delete it. Next is update. Update means always try to update your computer with some new antivirus, new spywares, and new scanning methods and all. Avoid cracked software. Everyone knows that you can download cracked and illegal software online because it is free to download. So try to avoid this. Install a firewall. A firewall is a program that screens incoming internet and network traffic. So along with your computer, along with your virus program, it can help prevent unauthorized access to your computer. So it is very important to install a firewall. It will create a net between your network and any other network, and it also allows you to save your information and to protect your information, or to protect your network from outer networks. Next is Trojan horse. Trojan horse is another type of malware program. Trojans can be most commonly employed by cyber thieves and hackers that try to gain access to user system. They always try to access user system. Users are typically tricked by some form of social engineering into loading and executing Trojans on their system. Once activated, Trojans can enable cyber criminals to spy on you. They steal your sensitive data, and the one more thing is they can gain a backdoor access to your computer. And once they get backdoor access to your computer, they can access your computer easily and they can hack your data easily. The crimes of bank and bank related theft of money from your accounts, they are most commonly related with Trojan horse because they get backdoor access to your system. The main actions they perform are they can delete data, block data, modify your data, they can copy your data, and they can disrupt the performance of your computer and computer networks. So students, that was all about operating system, and this topic was all about virus, worms and Trojan horse. From exam point of view, you must get a question on worms and virus, types of virus, what are the ways to protect your computer through virus, what is the difference between worms and virus. I have told you that it is a standalone program, whereas virus is not a standalone. Virus can produce more, means it can replicate itself in a shorter period of time, and the virus can produce number of copies of itself, whereas worms operate in a particular manner that it can't produce multiple copies at the same time. So there are so many differences between all these. So it was all about operating system. After completing the operating system unit, I just want to give you overview about the whole unit that we have done. Definition of operating system, then functions of operating system like process management, memory, device, file, security and resource management. Next is types of interface. Operating system has provided us two types of interface, GUI and command line interface. In command line interface, you have to type the commands, whereas in GUI interface, you can make use of mouse to select any options. Next is types of operating system, where we have studied about batch operating system, in which the job was divided into batches. It was a very slow process. Next was multi-programming, in which multiple programs are in the queue and CPU switches between all the multiple programs. Next is multitasking, means we can perform a multiple task. CPU allows you to perform multiple tasks at a same time. Next is multiprocessor. Multiprocessor means multiple CPUs in a single system. Next is time sharing operating system. It allows you to share the time of the CPU. Next is distributed operating system, in which the data is distributed at different locations and it allows you to access the data at any location. Next is real-time operating system. Real-time operating system are the system in which the response time is very hard, and the real-time systems are most commonly used in medical imaging system, where the output is very hard to obtain. Next is desktop. Desktop is your PC. So that was all about the types of operating system. Now next is process. Process management is one of the function of operating system, and you have to study about detail that what is process and how the process works and how the operating system handles process management. So definition of process, life cycle of a process, and then process control block PCB, which means it contains information of every process in the process control block. Next is swapping. Swapping means move the processes in and out through the main memory and the external memory. Next is scheduler. Scheduler is used to select the processes from the external memory, from the ready queue, and to remove the processes from the memory. So next was inter-process communication, how the processes communicate with each other. The next topic was memory management, means how the operating system manage memory. So there were two ways to manage the memory, contiguous and non-contiguous memory. In the continuous memory location, there are two methods, fixed partitioning and variable partitioning. In the fixed partitioning, there were two problems, internal fragmentation and external fragmentation. Compaction is the solution to external fragmentation. Next is variable partitioning. In the variable partitioning, there are three ways to allocate memory: first fit, best fit, worst fit. So next is paging. That was about continuous memory allocation. Now in the non-continuous memory allocation, there are two methods, paging and segmentation. Paging make use of page table and pages, whereas segmentation make use of segments and segment table. Next concept is demand paging, means bring the page into main memory only whenever it is required. So demand paging causes a problem that is known as thrashing. Thrashing means high paging activity, which reduces the utilization of the CPU. Solution to thrashing is working set model. Next is Windows, different types of Windows and Linux operating system. Device drivers, which allows you to operate different devices. Next is file and how the file management works, how operating system handles files, what are the functions of file, different file access method. And the last topic was security threats. What are threats, how it affects to your information, what are worms, what are virus, symptoms, types of virus, how you can protect your computer, and next is Trojan horse. So that was all about your operating system. In the next lecture, we will start with next unit of CS1, C++. So students, after this, we have completed 2 units of CS1, data structure and operating system. So your 2 units are completed. Now in the next lecture, we will start with the 3rd unit. Apart from that, I want to tell you one more thing. Some of the students are asking about PDF of CS1 or CS2. Students, I want to tell you that I have not found any PDF of CS on the internet. So you can refer my videos, and apart from that, you can refer book I have mentioned to some of the students, and I will also refer the name of the book in the next video. And what I can do for you people is, I will share this PPT. I will share this PPT with you people, then you can refer that PPT. I have written all the definitions in short. and I have explained all the concepts in this PPT. So you can make use of this PPT while listening lectures and while referring your book. It is up to you whatever you want to refer, but I will provide this PPT to you. So at the end of every unit, I will provide the PPT of each and every chapter. So by this, I will provide PPT of first two units, data structure and operating system. And next we will start with C++. In C++, we also have to perform programs. So PPT will be very useful for you to perform while performing programs. So that's all for today. Thank you.